Hey, all right, folks, it is 10 o'clock. Good morning and welcome to the October Tiny Tech Training. I'm Bobby DeMontney, and with me I have Laura Tretter, the sysadmin for the Montana Shared Catalog, and Colette Barteau, our CE coordinator. Last month, we discussed OCLC as an overview. We went over the OCLC contract and what it currently includes, and what that might look like to a patron using WorldCat to find material. Today, Laura is going to talk to us about Connexion and what it means for our libraries now that OCLC is discontinuing it. So this is the agenda for today's topic. We're going to do a little introduction. What is Connexion? How does it apply? And what does it all mean? And with that, Laura, I will turn this over to you.
Great. Thanks, Bobby. Let's see here. Get to the next slide. All right. So thanks for that introduction, Bobby, and for arranging the session today. So I'll start my video here. So kind of as Bobby said, I'm thinking of today as a continuation of last month's Tiny Tech training in a lot of ways. That was held on September 26th. If you haven't watched it, you can go back and watch it. But and if you haven't watched it, it's fine because we're kind of talking about a different part of it. As Bobby said, she looked at the state's OCLC group services contract and the services that are included there, which are unlimited cataloging, unlimited interlibrary loan, and access to WorldCat. And as Bobby said, she spent time with interlibrary loan and WorldCat, which set us up very nicely for today to really talk about cataloging services a lot more. One thing that Bobby covered last on the 26th as well, last Tiny Tech training, was the principles of cooperation, which I wanted to go ahead and share these again, start off with these again, because they really speak to the cataloging work that we do and why we do it to the level that we do. So in summary, the principles of cooperation, and this is my summary. So I take full credit for anything I left out or missaid, but we agree to contribute items from our collections to OCLC. We agree to create bibliographic records to the fullest level possible using OCLC standards, and we will contribute those records to OCLC. We will also identify and correct errors in bibliographic records, avoid adding duplicate records, and limit the use of OCLC systems and services to OCLC authorized users. I really love that Bobby shared those last month. I take these to heart as a cataloger. They're really important. And so going back to our first agenda item of what is Connexion now. Connexion is a full service cataloging tool offered by OCLC. Using Connexion, you can create and edit bibliographic and authority records and then share them with the entire OCLC cooperative to benefit libraries and patrons around the world. So Connexion is the tool that OCLC provides for us to create and edit our OCLC records based to essentially meet those principles of cooperation. So Connexion currently includes 3 cataloging applications. One of them is Connexion Client, and that is a locally downloaded desktop version, a desktop application for original cataloging and copy cataloging, which includes the editing and enhancing of our bib records. Connexion Browser, that is the web-based application for original cataloging, copy cataloging, which includes that editing and enhancing our bib records. So meaning you access that through Connexion Browser through as a web-based browser rather than software that you download like you do with Connexion Client. And then Cat Express is also a web-based application for but just for copy cataloging, not for original cataloging. So all three of these cataloging applications have been available to you as part of our group services contract and that unlimited cataloging. Montana librarians have used all of these different ones for different reasons. They're all good choices depending on your workflow and cataloging needs. Okay. So on May 1st of this year, May 1st, 2023, OCLC made the announcement that a lot of catalogers knew was coming, but it became official on May 1st that Connexion Browser, it will be discontinued on April 30th, 2024. And this includes Cat Express. So starting May 1st, 2024, there will be Connexion Client available to you for cataloging. There's no end of life schedule for Connexion Client. It's going to stay there for some good reasons for the foreseeable future. Don't expect another announcement to come soon. And then your web-based option for web-based cataloging is going to be WorldShare Record Manager. So Record Manager has been in development and in use for a number of years now. I think I first saw it in probably 2015. I first looked at it. It's fully functional. It's great. OCLC, basically, they can't continue to support two web-based cataloging applications. They put a lot of time and development into Record Manager, and it has a lot of good improvements over Connexion Browser and Cat Express. So here we are. So what does this mean for you? What do you need to do? If you use Connexion Client to do your cataloging, to enhance bib records or perform your original cataloging, you don't have to do anything. You just keep using Connexion Client, no end of life, don't worry about it. You may want to explore Record Manager to see what it can offer you, but you can do that on your own timeline, right? If you use Connexion Browser or Cat Express to enhance bib records or perform your original cataloging, you have a decision to make. You have time, right? You have till May 1st, but you should start. I recommend thinking about it now and looking at your options so you can make a good decision. And that decision is if you're going to use Connexion Client or Record Manager to do your cataloging work in OCLC. So, and ultimately, it really is up to you and your workflow and your preferences. They're both good cataloging tools. I have used Connexion Client. That's just what I've been using for years. I have definitely preferred it over Connexion Browser for me. I'll admit it was just yesterday, but I did finally yesterday created a couple records using Record Manager. And I liked it. It was nice. It was pretty good. OCLC has created some materials to help you decide, help you in your decision. One of the materials that I have a little screenshot of here is the OCLC cataloging application comparison. They like to use a lot of words. This chart compares Cat Express, Connexion Browser, Connexion Client, and WorldShare Record Manager. Compare some of the functionality between them all, and which may help you with your decision. They have a few other things as well. I'll have a link to this comparison chart and some other links at the end of this presentation. So don't worry, you'll get those. So I'm probably going to keep using Connexion Client. I'm comfortable with it. I like it. It works for me. I still am interested in Record Manager. I'm going to keep playing around with it a little more too, though. So from listserv discussions, there's some reasons people have decided to either stick with Connexion Client or to move to WorldShare. Some people who are using Connexion Client are going to keep using it because it offers an ability to work offline, because it's a downloadable desktop client. So you can work offline with that. There's, I think it was the librarian in the Grand Canyon National Park, which sounds like a pretty nice job. But he said his internet connection is very unreliable and slow. And so he'll often work offline using Connexion Client. And then when his connection, keep using that word connection, his internet service is stable, he'll log on and upload his records to OCLC. I don't know if any of you have ever experienced the heartbreak of losing a record that you'd almost finished, and then for whatever reason you lost it. It's horrible. So this must have happened to him more than once. So he really values the ability to work offline. Who's going to stick with Connexion Client? In the client as well, you can save in progress records. So often you'll start a record and you won't have time to finish it, or you'll need to think about it a little more. So you can save an in progress record. In the client, you can do that to a local file in WorldShare Record Manager and Connexion Browser. You had to save it to a shared online file, which if you're the only cataloger at your library, only person doing cataloging, that probably doesn't matter if it's an online or a local file that you're saving your in-progress records to. But if you work at a library that has multiple people cataloging, that shared online file can get kind of messed up. So get kind of messy, I guess. So some people really prefer that ability to save to their own local file, save their in-progress records to an own local file. And you can only do that with Connexion Client. Macros, that's another thing that's a real time saver for a lot of people. Connexion Client has a lot of macros, shared macros built in there, available to you. Record Manager does have some very cool advanced functionality that's similar to a couple of the macros, but it's not as complete. One other thing that stood out to me about Record Manager that you can't do in Record Manager is submit files for review. I see Shannon on here from MAR, and we've been working together where she's an amazing original cataloger, and she's been saving records and submitting them to review for me, so then I can see what they are, where she's at on them, offer some edits. She can finish the record and then upload it to make it live in OCLC. And you can't do that in Record Manager. So the only way to get input from someone you're working with, if it's a colleague, a mentor, someone who's helping you with the cataloging, is to make it live in OCLC and then do edits afterward, which is fine, but sometimes it feels like you're revealing something that you're not quite ready to reveal, but it's just kind of a different workflow. If anyone prints spine labels from Connexion, from OCLC, it sounds like and I don't, so I can't really speak to this, but from discussions, it sounds like it's a bit easier to set up in Connexion Client than it is in WorldShare Record Manager. But once you get it set up in Record Manager, it works well, but kind of a pain. I've heard it's easier to have multiple bib records, so you're comparing records sometimes to reuse some metadata, or just because you need to compare records. And it sounds like it's easier to have multiple bib records open at one time in Record Manager. You can do it in Connexion, but maybe it's a little easier there with Record Manager. Searching, I've heard a lot, people go back and forth. It almost seems pretty evenly split on if people prefer searching in Connexion Client or Record Manager. I think it probably just comes down to what you're used to and your preferences. Good arguments for either one. Okay. There's one thing though I do want to point out that Record Manager offers. So the OCLC builds Record Managers in more intuitive, modern application, right? And I think this is their big claim here. that they can now offer a text view. So Record Manager Mark view on the one side of the screen here is the mark tags, mark coding there. That can be intimidating and can really feel like a real barrier for a lot of people. If you don't know mark at all, it's hard to know where even to start, right? So Record Manager offers this alternative text view. So you can see on the mark view side, O2O, over here is the ISBN. On the text view side, right at the top, identifiers, you can select ISBN, put the number right in there. You don't have to know that it's mark tag O2O. Title information. So you don't need to know that, let's see, the title is the 245 in mark. You can see in the text view, you can just enter the title information there. Same with the author field. You don't need to know it's the 100. They have all these using the author or creator drop down. You can select if it's an author, if it's a contributor, an editor, you can make those selections and enter the name in there. So it is a little more, I would say it's definitely a more intuitive way to catalog. So that right there might be your decision maker for you. Okay. So now I've made my decision, right? So you have, as we said, right, you've got till May 1st, 2024. You've looked at at some of the resources that OCLC's made available, and you've made your decision. I want to use Connexion Client is your decision. So what you need to do there is download the client. If you don't have it on your computer yet, download the client using the download link from OCLC documentation. You're going to use your existing Connexion login authorization. So that same login that you use for Connexion browser, you'll go ahead and use for Connexion Client. That's fine. And then watch OCLC training videos and review their documentation. I rarely train people how to use any of the OCLC cataloging software because their videos are so wonderful. I watch them multiple times. You got to carve out some time for them, but they do a really good job in training you how to use your software, how to use their software. So, or you've made your decision now, I want to use Record Manager. So you can get the login link for WorldShare from the OCLC documentation. And again, that's coming up on the next slide here. You're going to use your existing WorldShare login credentials. Like if you use WorldShare for other metadata work or for ILL, you will already have a WorldShare login. It's different than your Connexion login. If you don't have a WorldShare login yet, you'll request that from OCLC. I found I also needed to have, I did have a WorldShare login before, but I needed to have OCLC add this cataloging role to my WorldShare login. So you may need to reach out to OCLC, even if you do have one, a login with them. And then go ahead and watch the OCLC training videos and review that documentation. They've done a wonderful job preparing people to use Record Manager. It's all there. So here are the links that I've pulled together. There's a lot more out there for sure. The first one is that screenshot I had, the cataloging application comparison chart. It compares features and functionality. Like I said, it compares features and functionality of CAD Express, Connexion Browser, Connexion Client, WorldShare Record Manager. The next link here is a comparison of Connexion Browser and Record Manager actions. So you say you're used to using Connexion Browser and you want to know how to save a record in Record Manager, and it compares, so that this chart right here will compare how you would do that, how you used to do it in Connexion Browser and how you will do it in Record Manager. And then this is a good one here, this third one, make the switch to WorldShare Record Manager. You've decided you want to use it, or you even just want to play around with it, this is a good place to start. It highlights the software. It has a nice 20-minute demonstration video, so not too long. It has the login link to WorldShare and a contact form to request credentials if you don't have that. And it links off to their documentation and training. And then the last two links are just sort of the software pages. The one for Record Manager has a 10-minute video too. If you just want to take 10 minutes and watch it, you can go there. Overview, a nice overview of the software. And this would be like the page that will persist, to make the switch to Record Manager. At some point, that page will go away, I assume. But this WorldShare Record Manager is sort of the software homepage, if you will. And then the last one is Connexion Client, and that's the same as sort of the homepage for that software. It has overview of it, a link to download the software, and links to their documentation and training. And I guess just one thing about the download, which you probably all know, depending on your IT environment, you may or may not be able to download software to your computer. You may need to get your IT staff involved. I work for the state for a number of years now, and to do that, I've got to put a ticket out to my IT person. And there are updates to that client every so often. You again have to reach out to your IT person to do the upgrade, but it's good, stable software. So that concludes my part of this. I don't know if there are any questions. I'm happy to answer questions. Any comments?
While you guys are thinking about your questions and comments, I did want to let you know that any of the slides and the links, they'll also be available in Aspen underneath the event. And we do always build in time for questions in these sessions. And we're so fortunate to have Laura here today. So please feel free to unmute yourself or put your questions in the chat. And thank you so much, Laura. We'll see if anything comes through.
Yeah, hopefully today.
I have a question.
Oh,
sorry.
good. Yeah, Shannon, what's the question?
So does the Connexion client look like the Connexion browser version, or is it different?
It's different. It has the interface is different enough. It's I don't know. It's same but different. I've always preferred it. I find it to be a little cleaner display.
Awesome, thanks. I kind of hate the browser, but that's what I've been using.
See, okay, and Shannon, try. It's easy enough to try both, right? To download the Connexion client and make a record in it, or just search for some records in it, and then log on to Record Manager. I think it might be a little easier transition to Connexion client in terms of just jumping in and searching. It probably will be easier. Record Manager, the search looks different enough that you sort of have to orient yourself to that screen. You won't have to do as much orienting of yourself to Connexion client, maybe. I don't know.
We also have a question in the chat. How are libraries using these with MSC services?
So that's a good question. So and actually this is, I think, I'm sorry, Shannon, I just keep bringing you up because you're so amazing. But basically Shannon asked that question at MLA. She's like, well, what is Connexion, and why do I care about it? And it is, like I said, you use it for original cataloging and to enhance and update and correct bib records that are in OCLC or that you're going to be put into OCLC. As part of MSC, a lot of the real small libraries, or just a number of libraries, really rely on some of the bigger libraries to bring in the bib records, right? To bring that stuff in, and you're attaching your item to it. And you don't go into OCLC Connexion really ever or very much. but you can. You're going to find things that are not getting corrected in the catalog, and you have the ability to log on there and fix those records, and not just in the shared catalog. You can fix them for the world. And that is amazing. I think that's so cool. That's the whole point of OCLC, that we're all contributing and we're all fixing and we're all making it better for everyone else. And even if you're at a small library, you can do that yourself. You don't have to ask someone else to do it for you, but you absolutely can as well. You don't have time, you're too busy, it's too much of a learning curve for this time. You can reach out to MSC admins or your colleagues at your other libraries if you see something that's not correct in a bib record, or you need some original cataloging done. We have a KB article and a way for you to ask us to do some original cataloging for you. So you don't have to go into Connexion, but if you want to, it's there for you. And Shannon, it was just April, so just after MLA, that I started working with Shannon on how to catalog in Connexion browser. And she's now, I don't know, now she's making them. How many do you think you've made, Shannon?
Oh, I don't know, maybe 10.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, and that's exactly it, Melissa. Those local cataloging, those local items, local local authors, or just historical materials. Those probably aren't going to get added in, especially those historical ones. If they're not in OCLC right now, they're probably not going to get added unless it comes from you or us working together. And it's so valuable to have them out there. I mean, I can tell you, I worked at the Historical Society, and researchers aren't coming to every individual library to see what you have. They're searching WorldCat, they're searching OCLC to find what's there, and they will travel to come see you for your unique materials. It's very cool to put the materials in OCLC.
And in the chat, Melissa also mentioned that much like what you were just saying, plus there is that need for the local cataloging and historical materials and locally published items and such. And then also you were talking about how the admins and they can open up a ticket and you guys can help them with some cataloging. Is there still anything, are there still mentors out there, cataloging mentors?
There is. Thanks for asking that, Bobby. There are still in the MSC, for MSC members, there is still the cataloging mentor program as well. And there's a page. Oh, I'd have to find it. I didn't grab that. A page that lists the mentors and how you can reach out to them. Let's see if I can find it real quick.
Oh, I got it. I'll put it in the chat.
Okay, thank you.
And another question from Melissa in the chat: who is available to mentor? I may be helping to complete a local cataloging project and only have the basics.
Awesome, Melissa. So that link that Bobby,
I'm about to get that in there.
Just about to put in there, lists the mentors there. And they are happy to hear from you. So don't feel like you're bugging them. Reach out.
All right, and that brings us right to 10:30. So thank you, everybody. Again, if you haven't done the evaluation survey, you should see the QR code and the link up on your screen. Colette also pasted that in the chat, so please let us know how we're doing. And thank you so much. This recording will be put on YouTube either later today or possibly tomorrow, just depending on how long it takes to render. And we will have that up for you along with the resources in Aspen under the event. Thank you so much, Laura.
Happy Halloween.